So, should you buy a salvage title Model S? The key works eventually. So this is a 2013 Tesla Model S, salvage title, 55,000 miles, and I got it for $15,000. The paint is really good on it, and it runs and drives perfectly fine, but it's got a lot of defects that I'll talk about and the cost behind fixing those things. In this video, I want to go over what exactly you should be looking out for when you buy a salvage title Model S or any Tesla for that matter, and just some general things to know, particularly with salvage title Teslas. The biggest thing that you should know with salvage title Teslas is that right after the vehicle is salvaged, they don't let you supercharge. So I'm having to use the slow chargers. I think the limit is about 40 amps, so it takes about 12 hours to fully charge this 85 kilowatt hour battery. But first, let's go over this car and see if you think I got a good deal or not. I think, you know, a 55,000 mile 2013 Tesla, at least right now it's 2023, I think they should go for around $20,000 to $25,000, somewhere around there, and that's if everything is working on it fine, or at least most things are working on it. So let me show you some of the issues that I have with this car. First of all, it's salvaged because of a front end accident, and you can see this bumper doesn't quite fit right. So that's one little issue. You can see the hood doesn't fit super well. Overall, the paint is like a 9 out of 10. It's really nice paint. The wheels aren't looking too hot. They need to be cleaned. The rear taillights hold condensation. I haven't looked into how much that is to replace, but I'm sure it isn't cheap. And the key is pretty beat up, as you can see. So these keys cost about $200 to replace. What I've done so far is I took it to a Tesla dealership to get a full inspection. And that's about $250, so I'll show you what that looks like. I would say that's 100% worth it. With any, you know, car that you're buying, you know, inspections can go anywhere from $100 to $300, and unless, you know, what you do for a living is you're a mechanic, you should probably get a second pair of eyes to look at it. So you can see they go through all of like the basic things. So all of the door handles on this car work, which is great. You can see both reverse tail lamps have condensation and reverse light is inoperable. So there's a bunch of other things, like the negative terminal of the battery was loose. So you can actually jump start these cars, which is pretty funny. Right behind the front little fascia thing, you can take that off and jump start them if the 12-volt battery dies. If the 12-volt battery is dead, nothing is going to turn on in the car. But I actually fixed that negative terminal. It was just a connection was loose, so I found a new screw and fixed that. They look at the brakes, they look at the suspension, they put an R on the suspension. I'm not sure why. Let's see, repair or replace recommended. Basically, the car is functional, and I think that's mainly what you should be looking for in these salvage Teslas, is that the battery is good and that the drivetrain is good. In this car, the drivetrain does make a little bit of a whine, but I don't think that's a huge concern. And you can see the battery, full charge is 241 miles on this, and it's rated for 265. So if the battery is charging anywhere between at least 85% of the rated capacity, then it should be okay. If it's not charging fully, that's a big thing to look out for. The other thing is Tesla will give you error lights in the car, and you'll actually be able to go into the computer and see what the error is for. So you don't need to bring a code reading tool or anything like that. Another big expense with these older Teslas is the screens bubbling up. And actually my local dealership, or, you know, Tesla repair center is charging $1,500 before tax to replace both of the screens and upgrade to the MCU2 infotainment system, which is a pretty good deal because I think normally just the screens is about $2,000, and to upgrade to MCU2, if you have the hardware already, that's another $1,500. So those are some things to look out for. If you do want to start supercharging your salvage title Tesla, the Tesla repair centers can inspect the car and sort of make sure it's okay to supercharge. And then they'll update the software so that it actually lets you supercharge. When I spoke to the Tesla tech about that, it was about, I think he estimated about $2,000 or $3,000. Maybe it's cheaper, I'm not sure. But anyway, this is a low mileage one, right? So 55,000 miles, a little less than 55,000 miles. The interior is really nice. The higher mileage ones will have wear around here, and there's a little bit of wear right there too. The other thing is this is the really old software, but the air suspension does work in this car. It's not detecting the key right now, but yeah, the air suspension does work in this car, which is another thing to look out for. The other thing with this car is the tags were 3 years out of date. So in California, I have to pay about $1,500 to catch up the tags. So the total cost I'm gonna have, oh, and the AC doesn't work in this car. So the total cost I'm gonna have into this car is about $20,000 after I get everything fixed. So I think it's a decent deal. You know, I'll drive it for about a year or two, and I should be able to get most of my money back at the end of this. So just sort of some closing thoughts on buying a salvage title Tesla. I've observed recently that there's two kinds of people who are selling salvage Teslas or high mileage Teslas on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. There's the flippers who are, you know, buying from auctions because they have dealer licenses and they have no clue what they're selling, and oftentimes the battery pack is bad, which is like a $7,000 repair cost. And then the other set of people who are selling their salvage Teslas or high mileage Teslas are people who have had the car for a very long time, and they're very much not comfortable with the process of selling cars. So that's really frustrating to work with them. I had one guy that said he didn't want to take cash for his Tesla, and then he wasn't willing to meet at a bank to count the money or do a bank transfer or anything in it. You know, I have to pay the guy somehow. I don't know how he wanted to be paid, but whatever, that was a different story. This guy was much easier to deal with, which was nice. And then, you know, you'll need to look for little things like all of the door handles presenting themselves properly and the sunroof working. My sunroof works like 90%, so that's good. But yeah, anyway, a bit rambly. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I'll try to answer them, and I'll try to be posting more updates on this car to show you, you know, what I've done and what needs to be done on the car. So anyway, thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.